Hello, welcome back to day 3, video 2 in the 2015 rally. I am so pumped you are still watching because we are getting into the meat of it. And we are at the point in the week where we are going to start taking ideas, concepts, theories, and shift into action on a very specific thing in your business. You've set your vision. You've identified what you need to do as a leader to clear way for growth in your business. And now we're identifying those things that you can start to make baby step progress on, because those baby steps lead up to the big kahuna. So with that, in the first video of today, we talked about the idea of testing and starting small, because small is beautiful. And when you test and stumble or are wildly successful on the small things, it gives you clues and helps you identify where you need to go as you grow, as you scale, and as you go bigger in your business. In the first video, we talked about the model for testing, very much pulling from the scientific method that we learned way back in grade school. And now we're going to talk about some ways that you can apply that scientific method in your business today. So I also recommend that you try these in small bursts. Let's not run a test for a year, although you might do that too. But right now we're looking to get momentum. So we are going to identify those things that you can test in a short amount of time to start to get some momentum as we roll into summer and before we move into the end of the year. And we want to be knocking out goals by the time we get to the end of the year. So with that, I'm going to show you and share with you some opportunities and some ways that you could test different things in your business. So if you have a marketing message or an idea around a marketing message, you could test that through a simple Facebook ad. Certainly you can put things in groups like we did here when I was testing landing pages for people to sign up and join this rally. I presented 2 options, and I will post the thread for you so you can see the feedback that we got on that. But we posted 2 options as to landing page ideas, and they had different messages and they had a different image. The structure of those pages was the same. And somebody in the group said, you know, these are great and you can get all the feedback in the world, but you're not really going to know what works until you put it out there. And they're absolutely right. This was part of our test plan. So we got some feedback on which page do you guys like better, and decided to test both of them because they were getting mixed feedback. This image, but that copy, or definitely the first page, or definitely the second. So it was a little bit of a mix. So I put them to Facebook, and I set up 2 ads with the same audience, and this test kind of broke down on me. One page was clearly the winner, clearly got more clicks, or one Facebook ad message clearly got more clicks, but there were only 6 conversions on the actual landing page. Now, I wish I could say I had a solid comparison, but I did not set up that test properly, and that one had no clicks. So either that messaging was terrible or I messed something up, and I don't think it was so terrible so either way, these weren't working because I needed more than 6 signups for people to join the rally to know that that was going to convert and that was going to be a success. So knew we had to change something. The other thing we tested, and we are actively testing, is referrals. So quite often when someone's launching something new, they give affiliates rewards and gifts for getting the most leads, for inviting the most people into the pre-launch activity. Now, instead of doing that, well, that's a very good thing to do, and I'm not downing that at all. We wanted to test and try something different. And we are instead giving prizes to you. We're giving out prizes to people who are a part of the rally, not necessarily affiliates, who are referring others to the rally. And we've had some breakout successes. Right now, there is a clear front runner, and there are definitely people who are going to win seats in CEO school. But I'll put a post on that later today so you can kind of see the traction and what's happening there. Now, all of this in this rally in and of itself is a test. How does this message work? Certainly, I've done something like this before for anyone who is a part of the 2014 or the 2015 Planathon or any of the clone camps are familiar with this structure of running a sort of a Facebook, a mini training in Facebook. And this week, we're calling it the rally. We're getting getting momentum before we move into the new year. But I'm testing messages, I'm testing ideas, we're testing engagement, and we're sharing with you. And ultimately, we're testing to see, does this structure, does this series of messages and communications work to invite people and to get people to join us in CEO school as we move ahead? So in addition, there are other ways that we could test. So I'm giving you lots of opportunities, and I've got lots of hypotheses as we move through this. But in addition, you can test the way that you deliver content. For example, all of the content that we are going to share with people in CEO school is pulled from my experience in working with big businesses. It's also pulled from my experience in working one-on-one with small businesses and solo entrepreneurs. And it's pulled from my program Freshly Implemented and different content that I've leveraged there as a continuation of some of the one-on-one work. And basically, we're pulling the core content that every business owner needs to know to run their business better. And we're moving it into a more structured program where we're going to share that content, where we're going to get an action around that content, where we're going to have impact in your business. Now, I'm moving to a program with this, but I could have tested this in another one-on-one environment first. I feel like I've done that though. The material's been tested one-on-one. The material's kind of been tested in a group environment, but it's a very different group environment. It's a more intimate group setting. And there's one other place that I'm still thinking I'm going to test this before I move ahead and fully scale CEO school. And one of those things is to bring people into a setting in my house where we go through in a group setting these pieces, and I find out, all right, what of this content works for you? What's going to get you impact in your business? And then what actually does get you impact in your business as you go forward and implement it? And I'm going to pivot for a second and talk about ways that other people have tested this methodology in their business. Specifically, I'm going to go to an app company. They set a challenge for themselves to create one new app every 2 weeks and put it on the market. And it wasn't until they created more than 20 apps that they identified what the market needed and what they could go forward with and really invest in and really scale in their business. But mind you, they only spent 2 weeks and as very limited resources as possible with all of those tests. So this is like the stumbling. They're putting a little bit of energy in, a few resources, and then they're identifying, okay, that didn't work. They're stumbling. They're not investing big in something and stumbling and falling and failing big, but they're testing and they're failing small. So ultimately, when they find the thing that works, that's kind of clicking, then they know exactly where to invest. So I want to hear from you in the comments. What do you think of these mini tests? What do you think of these case studies? And what could you possibly do in your business to start to test something, whether it's a marketing message, a business idea that you have? How can you start to test and validate before you go all in? Again, we're going to start to think about what can you do in the next 3 weeks, not what can you do throughout the year, although that's good too, and we want to think about that. But what can we do in the short term? I look forward to seeing your comments.